Hello and welcome our blood viewers to tonight's edition of English News. Tonight for the edition, for the highlights we got. A Prime Minister's inspection visit to Warable and Hayable premature. And on the international scene in the Mediterranean, strong increase in deaths of migrants join Europe. Those were the major stories for tonight. Welcome back. Following the meeting held by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, on 4th of July on ways and means to strengthen the ability of our city to fit with the virtues of an efficient capital in line with all the attributes of a modern city. Pleasing to live, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, visited this morning on the two axes where work will start soon in the districts of Warable and Hayable. Major rehabilitation work is underway in these two neighborhoods located in the town of Balbala. An operation of discernment is also taking place in these two neighborhoods to dislodge the illegally installed inhabitants. These operations are conducted by the mayor in the prefecture of the Republic of Djibouti in order to improve the living conditions for the inhabitants of these two large neighborhoods of the commune of Balbala. The Prime Minister also initiated a stayed with the members of the government and members of the concerned services, went to the two districts to see the progress of the works. It should be noted that the ADR, ONIAD, and the Rivulet departments will begin the construction site very soon. For his part, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, stated, and I quote, "We visited some neighborhoods of the capital, including the neighborhood of Hayable and Warable, where they were briefed during this visit among the difficulties in these neighborhoods and the process of rehabilitating the roads in these two neighborhoods. As all the officials of all the various ministerial services are present here today, especially the officials in the energy and water sector, and the Ministry of the City, which is concerned with beautifying the city and solving this challenge, along with the National Agency for Roads, which spared no effort to rebuild roads. He praised the efforts of the government for the work it had done in terms of working with the Djiboutian Agency for Roads, which in turn did what was required. The government approved on Sunday in the Council of Ministers the opening of the capital of public companies to national and foreign investors. This initiative illustrates the government's ambition to put in place mechanisms and modalities to attract the best professional strategic partners to accompany the modernization. In this regard, the Minister of Economy and Finance, Mr. Elias Musa Dawale, in an interview he gave to the press, details the process of opening the capital of Djibouti Telecom. Indeed, Mr. Elias Musa Dawale said that this process is part of a much broader perspective, that of the modernization of public enterprises. Let's listen. It goes beyond the framework of Djibouti Telecom. It is the principle that is laid down here through this law. And for your information, the energy sector has also been opened up to the private sector. There is no longer a monopoly of Djibouti electricity for the production of energy. These are no longer any monopolies on Djibouti's electricity production. There are texts that have been passed, and these texts have led to public-private partnerships, or what is known as independent power producers. And we have external players arriving to produce their own. This being said, Djibouti's electricity still has its unique role in terms of distribution. In any case, it is to put the institutional legal basis so that wherever necessary, the companies that will be the subject of competition, or in any case, that will be in a sector considered rather a competitive sector of a commercial nature. This law must be able to be applied. I cannot predict now how much other companies will be affected, but there will be indeed other companies that will be affected. At this stage, we wish to see the telecom sector evolve rapidly. Hence the declaration and therefore the press release of the decision of the head of state and the government to want to open the capital of Djibouti Telecom to the private sector. The Minister of the Interior, His Excellency Mr. Saeed Nuh Hassan, continuing his tour of contact with the regions, went yesterday to the region of Arta. On his arrival, he was welcomed by the prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, and the president of the regional council, Mr. Elmi Buh, as well as all civil and military authorities of the region. They reserved him a warm and enthusiastic welcome. After the usual greetings, the minister met the agents of the prefecture and those of the deconcentrated services. He attended a presentation of the Arta region. Finally, he closed this working day with a meeting with the notables and okals of the region. On this occasion, he did not fail to recall the firm commitment of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to better serve the citizens. The government of Arta region welcomed the new Minister of Interior, Mr. Saeed Nuh Hassan Ali, who paid a visit to Arta region within the framework of on the full agenda of his visit, the communication visit that the minister is carrying out in all the interior regions of the country. He also expressed the reassertion of the local authorities in the region of Arta and the citizens in order to work alongside the minister and move forward with the development program of the country. In turn, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Saeed Nur Hassan, thanked the local authorities for the kind reception and hospitality he was giving. He also indicated that the region has witnessed remarkable development in many fields. Although there are many development projects and programs that need to be implemented in order to continue the efforts aimed at continuing the upcoming projects in order to achieve further development and prosperity. With regard to volunteering in challenge and responding to citizens' requirements, the minister pledged to redouble efforts aimed at overcoming all challenges and serving citizens, and that is by working with the relevant authorities and ministers. The Minister of Culture and Youth, Dr. Hibu Mu'min Asawi, received this morning of July 14, 2021, in her cabinet, the Ambassador of the Russian Federation, Mikhail Golov. The discussions focused on ways to strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The Ambassador of the Russian Federation thanked the Minister for her availability. On the other hand, the Minister of Culture and Youth, Dr. Hibu, received this morning again in her office the Ambassador of Turkey, Salim Levanet. The discussions focused on ways and means to strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation that unties the two countries. The Ambassador of Turkey, Salim, thanked the Minister for her availability. A delegation of official women from the National Union of Djiboutian Women, UNFD, led by its Vice President Hasna Hamad Bilil, visited the town of Ali Sibih last Monday. It is made up of UNFD Secretary General Fatuma Musa Abdi and Umma Muhammad Hamid, the deputy, and other women senior figures in the state. Their trip is part of the ceremonies for the presentation of certificates of honor to women leaders and workers in the entire regions, initiated by the First Lady and President of the UNFD. Previously, this UNFD mission had presented all regions of the interior of the country to honor the members of the female Genet committed and responsible since the colonial fight until today in the defense of the national cause and particularly of the interrogation of their fellow citizens. The distinguished visitors were welcomed with great pomp in a festive atmosphere at the headquarters of the regional council by their regional colleagues of all ages and from all social categories. At their head, the deputy Roda Ahmed Ali and the president of the local branch from UNFD, Will Ibrahim Roble, they warmly received in the country yard of the country's headquarters of the regional authority for this introduction under the background of music and patriotic songs coupled with well-rhythmic traditional folk dances. The event began with the reading of a verse from the Holy Quran, followed by the interventions of each other from the official women. First, the president of the local branch of the UNFD welcomed Ali Sibih to the members of this mission from the central headquarters of the National Union of Djiboutian Women. She recommended to her intercultures that they convey the warm and sincere greetings of the Asajog women to the First Lady and President of the UNFD. This ceremony that brings us together at these times and initiated by it testifies to the great contribution she has for the female population of the nation. The Secretary General of the National Union of Djiboutian Women expressed her happiness at handing over certificates of appreciation to these women, in appreciation of their efforts which they made over the past and continuing years, with the aim of advancing the economic, social, and cultural development of the country and supporting women's rights. The Vice President of the UNFD, Mrs. Hasna Hamad Bilil, took the floor to thank all the audience for the warm welcome given to the strong delegation of UNFD and the Aska Ali Sibih region. To pay tribute to the women leaders of the region, she conveyed to the audience the greetings of the First Lady, Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Hayed. "We are in Ali Sibih," she said, "to honor and thank the women leaders who fought for independence and who have made and are still making great efforts for the promotion of gender and the development of the region. These pioneer women are not numerous today. We came to give them certificates of merit and recognition for the services they have rendered to women and development." Certificate signed by the First Lady, Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Hayed, who is also the President to the National Union of Djiboutian Women. "For the moment, we are going to give the certificates to 3 women, but we know that there are other deserving women who will be entitled to the same certificates." Mrs. Hassan Muhammad was pleased to hand over the certificates on behalf of the First Lady. The Secretary General of the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad Mahyub, presided this morning over a ceremony to award vocational training certificates to the winners of the lifeguard training course. The ceremony took place at the MENFOB headquarters in the presence of the commander of the Djibouti Coast Guard, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, the Director General of Technical Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Abdul Qadir Hamad, the General Inspector of ETFP, Mr. Mahdi Umar Farah, as well as the managers of Sheraton and Kempinski. It should be noted that this training included a theoretical and dedicated part of 4 months and a practical summer internship of 2 months, July and August, to practice the tricks of the trade of bathing supervisor on public branches, hotels, swimming pools, and other places such as summer camps. After 8 months of training, 15 young lecturers received today their certificate of professional training of bathing supervisor delivered by the General Directorate of Technical Education and Professional Training. An important training, closing, and graduation ceremony took place on Saturday, 10 July 2021 at the Arab Academy of Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport in Alexandria, Egypt. The graduates of the University of Djibouti were 25 in number and joined the AASTMT to specialize in the maritime professions and to work as officers of the Merchant Marine. This ceremony was all the more successful as these young people have distinguished themselves throughout the training by their seriousness, commitment, and self-sacrifice, and will integrate the Merchant Maritime Corps in order to seize the national and international opportunities that are now open to them. These regular training programs reflect the privileged partnership relations between the APZFD and the AASTMT, relations that were initiated since 26 in the field of capacity, building the acquisition and improvement of knowledge in this area. It should be noted that the said training programs are organized, coordinated, and financed by the Ports and Free Zones Authority through the Port Authority. It should be recalled also that a new all-female class has just joined to follow advanced training in the field of merchant shipping. These young women who have a background in physics, chemistry, mathematics, and mechanics will follow courses in engineering, naval, electrical, and electrical engineering. It should be also noted that the ceremony was attended by the Ambassador of Djibouti to Egypt, His Excellency Mohammed Doher Hersi. Moving on, the meeting room of the Secretariat of State in charge of sports hosted yesterday a consultation and preparation between the SEGS officials in the framework of the organization of the summer tournament. As usual, the summer tournament starts every year in July after the one on 27 June. After the success of the last edition, which attracted several hundred young people, the members of the tournament committee are pleased to repeat the experience with renewed energy. Presiding over the meeting, the Secretary General, Mrs. Khadija Ibrahim Idris, stressed that this was an event of great importance and that the organizing associations could count on her department to provide them with the necessary means for the smooth running of this important gathering of high-level athletes. It should be also noted that the lunch is scheduled for the 15th of this month, and the tournament will run for a month. Several disciplines will be played, including football, volleyball, basketball, and other in the capital, as well as in the interior regions. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, the number of migrants who have died at sea trying to reach Europe has more than doubled this year. The International Organization for Migration said on Wednesday, calling on states to take urgent action. According to statistics published by the IOM in a new report, at least 1,146 people died at sea trying to reach Europe in the first half year of 2021. In 2022, 513 died in the same period, and 674 in 2019. On Wednesday, France resumed the tradition of a military parade on the occasion of its bank's holidays. The head of state rode in a command car along the Champs-Élysées under grey skies along his chief of staff, General Francois. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, the 14 July parade was cancelled, the first time this has happened since the Second World, and replaced by a ceremony in the Place de la Concorde. This year saw the returns of troops, flags, and armor to the famous Champs-Élysées Avenue in Paris, but access to the show was limited. Spectators had to have a health pass and wear a mask. The capacity in the stands was also set at 10,000 people compared to 25,000 in normal times. The 2021 edition of the parade will involve 5,000 parliaments, including 4,300 soldiers on foot, 73 aircraft, 24 helicopters, 221 vehicles, and 200 horses of the Republican Guard. After the additional flypast opened by the Pétrole de France, a contingent of European Special Forces participating in the task for Takuba launched this parade on foot on the Champs-Élysées. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for the French edition with our colleague, Samater. Thank you, and spend a lovely night. Thank you.